Hello, Phil here, obviously. This is going to be my acoustic version of one of my album tracks called Paris Nord, and I'm going to film another bit after this and edit it in so that I can sing the other part of the chorus with myself.
If I had known for just one moment you'd be gone. It's not okay, we want to know. Lost in your eyes, Paris night skies, both hypnotized. Find a way to find your way to spend the night with you in Paris Nord. It's so unfair. You left me there. You took the 9:35 from Paris Nord. In a heartbeat, you were gone. Like ships in the night, love at first sight, holding you tight. Find a way to find your way. Spend the night with you in Paris Nord. It's so unfair. You left me there. You took the 9:35 from Paris Nord. Left with just her aroma from our standstill adventure. Now I'm stuck in a world of regret. And it's 9:35. I'm not happy, but I feel alive. So much I wanted to say, but now it's too late. Find a way to find your way. Spend the night with you in Paris Nord. It's so unfair. You left me there. You took the 9:35 from Paris Nord. You took the 9:35. You took the 9:35. You took the 9:35 from Paris Nord.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another live stream Tuesday. We started tonight's live stream with a video that I don't think we've seen in a while, because we often get the album version of Paris Nord requested, and in that particular album version video, I used the footage from that acoustic performance and just try to match it up with timing and all that kind of stuff, and that was the acoustic version of me singing with myself. So thank you guys for requesting Paris Nord over on Patreon. I just decided to play that one because we haven't seen it in a while. So hello to all you guys in the live chat room. I can see you in there. Let's have a quick shout out to see who's in the house tonight. We have I was going through very quickly. I try and pick up some names. Vicky, Angela, Billy, Rose, Mark, Angela, Hermes Ninja Bob. It's moving through too quickly. So Tammy's in there as well. Waitress 68 and Sue's in there. Elaine and Karen, Michael, Angela again, Bernadine, Cindy, Mark, and Desert Deluge and J.G. Lewis. Hello, everyone. Thank you for spending your Tuesday night with me. Depending on what the time is, there might not be a Tuesday night, might be afternoon or morning. So thank you for spending your time, whatever it may be, here with me tonight. So let me get the names of my patrons up on screen because they make this all possible in the first place. And you guys know who you are. As I always say, they are the foundation of everything that I do on the channel. So a massive shout out to these lovely people at the bottom of the screen. For allowing me to do what I do. Now, talking about doing what I do on the live streams, we have the laptop out again today. I don't know whether you were to see it, so there it is. And I'm not sponsored. That wasn't an advertisement for Apple MacBook Pros. It's just what I'm using now to do the fill jams. And what is weird is that the fill jams, how I normally do them, stopped working, as you guys know, and it was entirely random as to why they stopped working, but they did stop working, and I think it was just an update that didn't quite go right, or now the software doesn't work as it used to because the update made it less effective. And what has happened is that the video, normally what would happen is when I'm starting my live streams or even just starting recording one of my analysis videos, the camera is always at a ridiculous frame rate, like 15 frames per second, so it's really jumpy. And I usually have to go over to start some kind of Google Meets call, and that then resets the camera, so then it's all fine for me to move forward. But now the camera has seemingly sorted itself out, or whatever was wrong with the software has now righted the camera because I don't have to reset it. So I'm just thinking whether that's all part of the same update, that they've now fixed the camera thing, that maybe lots of people said that the camera wasn't working and you have to reset it in another piece of software for it then to understand that, oh, hang on, it's not set to 15 frames per second, it's either 30 or 60 or 29 or 59.98 or whatever it is. So I'm wondering whether by fixing one thing, another thing's gone wrong. So yeah, it's great that I don't have to keep resetting the camera at the beginning of every analysis video and every live stream, but a bit annoying that now the sound side of it is going a bit wrong. But we have the laptop out. We'll try and do exactly what we did in the last live stream, and hopefully it'll work like it did in the last live stream. The only concession on my side is that I'm listening to the backing track through the Mac Pro speakers, which obviously aren't very loud, and I just have to try and do my best as to hear exactly what's going on. And obviously it means that I don't get a clear signal from the bass, and usually the bass is something that's going to, even if the rest of the track is a little bit, I don't know, a little bit hard to hear, the bass usually is one of those things that is quite constant, and as long as it's mixed well, you'll be able to tell where the changes are, or maybe where it's going to go, or whether it's just going to repeat, or you're just listening out for the bass and where that bass goes. But with the MacBook Pro, although you can hear the bass a little bit, it's not like a subwoofer like I've got here. It's not like having reference speakers as I've got here as well. So yeah, we just have to make do with it, hopefully hear what's going on, and just play, thankfully now, or hopefully a little bit more in time than was possible before, when it just automatically was out of time because of the latency. Right, now we still have this, and I think this is going to be something on YouTube that has changed forever. They've changed the interface so that now I can't look at the super chat window without leaving the lycometer, so it means that it disappears from the screen whenever I'm looking at a donation, if indeed there are any donations. But let me get the light scroll up on screen, because we are going to be going for Fill Jam number 290 tonight. And that's if we hit 350 thumbs up. So if you could leave a thumbs up as you come through the door, that would be very much appreciated. And we will see where we end up by the end of the live stream to then, have a go with this particular setup. So let me get the donations tab up on screen because... Oh, and let's get the like comment up on screen as well. 198. We are close. But it means we're looking for another 152 people to hit the thumbs up before the end of the live stream. Let me mention about donations. You don't have to donate. Just watching is great. But for those people that can't resist donating, I think it's important that they know between 45 and 60% goes to YouTube through the Super Chat window, and between 3 and 5% goes to PayPal through the PayPal link, which you can find in the description below. But yes, just watching is great. Maybe leaving a comment and a thumbs up would be, very much appreciated as well. So now the like comment is going to disappear because I'm going to jump over to the donations window. And Paul has donated $10, so thank you for that. And the message is, howdy all y'all. Let's have fun tonight. Despite the likes, we need a fill jam tonight. Peace, love, and rock. So, thank you for that, Paul. And let me now get back to the stream settings, which shows you, the amount of likes you've got. And for me, I would say, if I were in the meeting with Google, when they're deciding how they're going to set up the live streams and how they're now going to change the interface that everyone's been working with for years, I would say, well, the number of likes is not a stream setting. So why is it under stream settings? So that's just what I'd throw out there, that it's not really, relevant to what they're now putting it under. Because in order to see the amount of likes, you have to go to stream settings. But so if you were to want to change the settings, what would be achieved by clicking on the number of likes? Nothing. That wouldn't change any settings. So I think they've put it in the wrong place. I preferred where it was before, so that you could just have the likes as a separate thing. And then if you wanted to change stream settings, then there would just be settings under the header of settings. But I'm old fashioned, so that's the way that I would do it. That you have the relevant materials under the relevant heading. So to change a setting, there will be settings underneath that, not just showing you the likes. So it's all a bit weird, but at least the video is now sorted. So I won't have to worry too much about that in the future, hopefully. Fingers crossed, unless there's another update where they ruin it all again. Now, I am going to jump into the PayPal window as well, because there's a donation from Chuck, who donated £10 and 1 pence. So thank you for that, Chuck. And the message was, thank you for everything you do. So thank you, Chuck, for that particular donation. And Cindy donated £25 as well. So thank you for that. And the message is, hi Phil, question, is there a need for music theory at all? And how does the answer differ from the perspective of a guitar player versus a composer versus an arranger? Thanks. So thank you for that. And I feel like we've had this question relatively recently, where I said that really for composing, and I think for as a guitar player myself, a guitar player might compose songs themselves, and there isn't really any need to know any theory. I think when you're learning to play, you can't help but learn basics, because you're learning chords and you learn the names of the chords. And generally, if you're jamming with other people, then you will at least pick the key that you're going to jam in or around, and then kind of go from there. So you have a basic knowledge of theory, but as for then writing your own songs or composing your own songs, or it might be instrumentals, I think that when you get used to hearing sound, then you can write using sound. Like, you don't need to know what somebody's calling what you're doing, because you can just do it. And that's very much what it is. It's just that the theory is there in order for people to be able to play what somebody else has composed themselves. So I might have a song that I write without any theoretical knowledge and not referencing theory in any way. I write a song. Now, if somebody else, or maybe let's say that I write an instrumental piece that's 10 minutes long. Now, I know how it all goes for the 10 minutes, but say that somebody else wants to now learn that, they, if they want to, can write it down, or somebody can write it all down so that other people can learn how to play it. So it's very much just that passing on of how to play a particular thing. The recording of it is kind of where the theory comes in, so that people will know, oh right, at this point that happened, and they're looking at the chord progression or the particular notes that were played in a particular solo, so they're kind of reading it as they go. But then again, even from that perspective, you can still, like, listening to music and working it out. That's something that you can do, and you can learn a 10-minute piece if you want to, and just remember it, because I think it's just different as to how the brain works. Because I used to listen to music and have to figure it out without, I was trying to figure out music before YouTube and before the internet, so it means that you're listening generally to a song and you can't even see, you're not even watching a video, you're just listening to the song, and you're trying to figure out what is going on, or what the guitarist is playing, or what the chords are for the song. So you're listening, and then you are turning that into, you're taking sound and turning it into sound with your guitar. So you're always working with sound. Like, you're never working from theory when you're learning in that way. So I think when I was learning to play the guitar, I'm thankful that I did it that way round, so that if I want to learn a song, or if I want to teach somebody a song, I don't need to find somebody else's, notation of it, or kind of rely on potentially a book that's got it actually written down incorrectly. And there's so many things on the internet where there are fundamental errors with notes that are being played. For example, like having a semitone rundown, and somebody's put a tone in there, and I myself think, how can you not hear that that's wrong? That it's not a tone, it's a semitone. So this is the kind of thing that I've seen it in, because I used to teach in a guitar shop. They'd bring in their books of their favourite band, and I would have to teach them, because I would listen to the song that that they wanted to learn and the particular guitar solo, and in the official book, the release, of course the band members who play the music, they're not writing it all down themselves to sell their own book. It's a third-party company that's writing it down, and they're doing a deal with a record label. It's effectively like selling merch. So they've got this book, and they sell the book, but then the book's got wrong notes in it from the solo. When you then listen to the solo, and this is why I'd rather listen to a solo and figure it out and teach my students exactly how it goes, rather than them figuring it out from a book that's going to teach them it incorrectly. Because there's some awful errors with just the person who is writing the book, who's just transcribing it all. It's reliant on their ability, and unfortunately some people can't quite hear the subtle differences in sound. But when you can hear the subtle differences in sound, then you can hear whether a chord is one particular variation of a chord or another, or whether semitones and tones, being able to hear the difference. But I mean, that's a basic one for me, so whenever that happens, it's a bit of a it's actually quite funny when somebody can't hear the difference between a semitone and a tone. But anyway, so I would say for an arranger, again, I don't think really, if you're used to working with sound, you don't need any theoretical knowledge, because with an arranger, it's very much hearing the right place for instruments, is working with an overall sound. It's not really worrying about what chords a particular instrumentalist is playing, or what notes a singer's hitting with the melody. It's about, and instrumentally, it's about arranging, getting the best sound overall, so that you've got everything in its place, so that nothing's kind of overpowering, or if you've got a lead instrument, that is taking people's attention and getting everything in the progression, telling a story with the sound. So with that, you're not going to really be too worried about theory, because you're worried about the overall sound. So for me personally, I think there's probably a requirement for basic music theory, just knowing your chords and knowing, for example, the notes on your guitar or your instrument, whatever it might be. But then once you know that, I mean, having said that, you can play the guitar and you can jam along to something not knowing any notes on your guitar, and as long as you know what the sound is going to be when you play a particular string on a particular fret, if you know what that sound is going to be before you play it, then you don't need to know what it's called, because you listen to the sound, like of a backing track, for example, and with that sound, generally people can hum along, or they have an idea in their head of the particular melody that is going on with the song or the backing track that you're listening to. So if you can kind of sing along to it in your head, then you can play along to it on your instrument, whatever that might be. But in my case, it's a guitar. So you just kind of sing along through the instrument, and you don't need to know any notes. You don't even need to know the chords that you're playing over the top of. So I mean, that is really proof in of itself that you don't need theory to make sound with another sound. It's just kind of locking into that and interacting with it. And this is why I have the fill jams, because that's what it's all about, just shooting from the hip and seeing what happens. So thank you for that, Cindy. And I can see that there has been another donation, but just quickly I will get into another donation that Sue has made. It's £20 over on PayPal, so thank you for that. And the message is, using the PayPal link because I can't resist. Missed you all on Saturday. So thank you for that, Sue. And Karen's donated £5 and 62 pence, so thank you for that. And the message is, hi Phil, you said that there are still issues about hearing the backing tracks on your end. I hope you don't mind me asking, and this is more your domain, but would it help to use earbuds or something like that? Thanks for all you do and for being you. Cheers, Karen. So thank you for that. And you'll have to trust me that I've looked at every single possibility for this. So at the moment with my MacBook Pro, I'm coming out of the headphone socket, and there's only one. The headphone socket is taking the backing track to my Scarlett interface, so that the backing track, if you imagine the backing track's going into the interface and my guitar's going into the interface, so they're arriving at the same time. So then the synchronization works. The only problem with that is that the headphone socket now is taken up by what's happening to that backing track. So it means that if I wanted to plug in headphones, for example, into my MacBook Pro, the headphone socket is being taken up, so I can't do that. And with the MacBook Pro, they've minimized everything, or should I say minimalized everything. So now it doesn't really have anything on it apart from 2 USB-C ports and a headphone out socket, and that's it. So you might think, well, what about Bluetooth? Can you connect via Bluetooth? And the problem with that is there's now a delay, and it's all about latency. So it means that I'm now, I would be hearing the backing track now behind when it's actually happening because of the latency that happens with Bluetooth headphones. And it only has to be like a quarter of a second for it now to be all out of time again. So I mean, I'm hoping that there might be another update for the software, because now that the video works, that didn't work before, I'm thinking, well, maybe in the future they'll figure out this latency issue, and then it'll go back to how it used to be, and everything will work fine, and the video will work fine as well. And this is just something that I have to do, temporarily for having that headphone socket running all through at the same time. So hopefully things will improve with the software in the future. I'll have to just keep on testing it and see if that is the case. But at the moment, unless I look for some kind of wireless USB-C headphone dongle, maybe, but it's the latency. Even if it's slightly behind, it's still going to be a problem when I'm doing something like a jam over a track that everything's got to be heard and played over at exactly the same time. So yeah, anyway, thank you for that donation. It's just going to take a bit of time for me to or should I say for the software to release an update for it all to work again. But Karen's donated £3.57 again, so thank you for that. The message is, hi Phil, someone asked about applying music theory. I've learned theory through formal lessons, college courses and active listening. I believe that theory continues to grow through the years. What do you think? Thanks again, Karen. So thank you for that. And I mean, generally, sound is sound. Like music is music. When you go back to its fundamental core, it's a sound. So all of the sounds already exist. So with theory, it's not really theory that's evolving. It's sound that's evolving. So if you can just keep up with understanding sound, then yeah, and when saying music theory continues to grow through the years, if that's from a learning perspective, then yeah, sure, it's going to be. If you're into learning about theory, then yeah, you can spend years and years and years studying it if you want to. If that's something that you find helps your playing or composing, whatever it might be. But yeah, I kind of fall on the other side of just not really being bothered about theory and we're just working with sound, because in the past, with people that I have played with and very well qualified guitarists, when we've just played and jammed, they've struggled to just play along with chord changes without knowing the chord changes first. Just being able to shoot from the hip and just what I would class as just extemporizing, and not extemporizing over a progression that everyone knows already. It's just kind of working your own way through it and seeing what happens. And this is literally the opposite of theory, of knowing where all the chords are going and all the notes and all the scales that you might need in order for the chord progression that you know is about to happen. If you start and say, right, we don't know what's going to happen, and this can even be not even saying what key you're going to play in, and another guy playing guitar will turn the other way, face the wall and start playing, and then you have to play along with that. So that's something that I enjoy doing, and just having everyone join in, and it might take a little bit of a while for some people to kind of get up to speed with it, but that's the fun of it. That's the challenge of it is just making sound and not having to really think too much about it, because I think when you start relying on all of that kind of theory and the conscious thought that comes with theory, that's getting in the way of creativity, because you think, well, what can I play with this? And you're thinking about scales or modes, whereas it should be, what do I want to play with this? What do I want my instrument to sound like with this particular sound that I can hear? And when you approach it from that angle, then it doesn't matter what the theory is, because you might play something that somebody might say, oh, that was wrong, you shouldn't do that in that key. But then you say, well, yeah, but that's what I wanted to play. I'm not thinking about what I should or shouldn't do, depending on the kind of rules of the key or the scales or the modes that might supposed to go with a particular chord. If you hear something, then you can play it. And if you want to sing through the instrument a particular set of notes that you're intentionally singing, then play them. And it doesn't matter that, oh, hang on, you've gone outside the bracket there of that particular mode. Just throw it all in, and this is why you'll start playing in all kinds of different modes, but you've never learned any of them because you're just singing through the guitar and singing the notes that you personally like, that you lean towards, and that'll then start to make you sound like yourself rather than copying everybody else or following everybody else who's gone through the same scale or the same mode, because those are the rules for that particular chord progression, for example. So thank you for that. Now, Mitch Marie has donated £2, so thank you for that. And the message is, "Hi Phil, what is your line 6 presets and pedal board? Can you demonstrate some simple effects, overdrive, delay, chorus, phase shift? Thanks, and an early Merry Christmas to you, your family." So thank you for that, and yeah, Merry Christmas to you as well. So my pedal board for my line 6 HD, well, Spider 3 HD 150 in the background is really simple. So what I've got is, I will grab the guitar because this might be quite a good test for the Phil Jam later to make sure that it's coming through. I'm going to turn on this. I'll roll off a little bit of volume so it's not too... Is that coming through? Oh, hang on. Okay, it's close enough. So with my setup here, what I've got is everything stored in the amp. Now, if I wanted to, in the head of the amp, so if I wanted to add delay or reverb or phaser, and there's lots of different things on there, tape delay as well. So if I wanted to add something like that, I wouldn't be able to do it unless I was standing next to the amplifier and I was changing the settings. So what I've got here is my pedal board is just a small square. It's like FBV pedal board, or something. It's called something like that. So I've got the wah-wah pedal, which also doubles as a volume pedal, and then I've just got A, B, C, D. So the A, B, C, and D refer to the banks of the head. So it means that I can store 4 effects, or 4 basically different styles. If you don't know what effects are, like I can have one that's got, if I click on A, it might have phaser on there, if that's what floats your boat. On like the second channel, I might have a clean tone that has got lots of reverb on there, and then under the C, then I might have my lead tone or something like that, and then D, I'd have maybe a chunky rhythm tone. So it means that I've got 4 choices. Now, if I wanted to have multiple effects for multiple different songs, then I can store those in the head as well. So it's all stored in the head. So it means that when I was playing live, I wanted the most simple setup ever. And when I started playing with the HD 150, when I was teaching guitar, it was an amp that I thought, I really like the sound of the tones. And yeah, it meant that I then got into the rehearsal studio. And when I was in the rehearsal studio, a really important part, I think, of setting up your live sound is setting everything up as you would have it live. So you go into, or I say you go into, but I went into rehearsal studio, which is like soundproof, or pretty much soundproof, and you turn up your amplifier to this kind of gig volumes, so that put in your earplugs, and you have a listen to your live guitar sound. Because what will happen typically is that you'll have a tone that sounds great when it's quiet, but then when you whop it up, it can just be an absolute mess. So this is what I found when I was playing live with kind of other effects processors and pedal boards that I had, is that they sounded great quiet, but then when you got to gig volume, it just wasn't the same tone. But yeah, with the HD 150, it was, or the Spider 3 HD 150, when I was turning it up, I was maybe rolling off a little bit more of the drive, as it's kind of explained as on the head of the amplifier. So I was rolling that off as the volume went up. So it meant that when I'm at kind of gig volume or live volume, that the tone was exactly how it sounded when it was quiet, but I had to change it at that really loud volume. And yeah, it might be the case that if you are wearing earplugs, you might want to take out an earplug just for a short span of time to hear your tone clearly when you are going to be playing in front of people and it's a lot louder, so that you can kind of dial it in. So yeah, that's my kind of top tip. Is I think it's worth it as a guitarist to just go into a rehearsal space by yourself and just spend an hour, a couple of hours just messing around with your tones, because it's not only your lead tone, it's your rhythm tone that you might want to have something that what I have is taking even more drive off and making it a bit crunchier, so that, yeah, it now kind of, I don't know, kind of jumps out a little bit more. It's not as smooth as the lead tone. And then you've got clean, and judging how much reverb you want on your clean sound, because the louder you go, the more the reverb will kind of stand out. You don't need as much, because if you're playing it in a venue as well, you're getting the space of that natural environment. So generally you're going to dial off the reverb the louder you get. So it's just kind of, yeah, piecing it together so that you've got everything where you want it to be. But yeah, I'm talking about kind of setting up tones here. But yeah, with delay, chorus, phase shift, different effects. There are loads of different effects that people can have, and if you want to have a pedal board and kind of chain up your effects, then that might be one way to do it. But I just wanted to keep it really simple, so everything's stored in the head. And I'd have, generally, I haven't got it set up here because this is basically 4 different sounds. So I've got kind of clean, like that. I've then got clean, and this is now with the wah, like that. So I've got the wah wah set up. So clean, and then clean with wah wah, and then dirty, and dirty with wah wah. So it's just really simple setup for the fill jams that I've got. Those are my options. But then you can roll off a little bit. If I wanted to go, if I wanted to use the wah wah and roll off a bit, this is the same tone as now when I kind of open the taps on it. You can see how just rolling it off gives you that, that cleaner sound. You're rolling off that gain from the sound, so you can control quite a lot from your guitar. Obviously, it's easier to do it from your feet, but it just depends what you're going for live. If you're kind of jamming more, then you want to probably just do more on your guitar to adjust your tone as you go. So yeah, for live, what I would have would be clean, and generally another clean sound that might be a little bit more kind of, I don't know, bathed in reverb if I was going for that kind of sound. And then I'd always have the rhythm tone and the lead tone. And my lead tone, again, little top tip here, my lead tone was always, I'd say probably 40% louder than my rhythm tone. Because, I mean, even recently, I've been to see, very well-known bands. I've been invited to shows, which is great. And I've seen very well-known bands performing live who still haven't set up their tones what I would consider correctly. So it means that the lead guitarist, when they start playing lead guitar, their tone changes to their lead guitar tone, but the volume is the same as the rhythm. So you can't really hear what's going on. You might see lots of stuff going on the fretboard, but all you can really hear is kind of, kind of generic hard rock rhythm there. But it means that that's what you're hearing, and what you're seeing is like, you're seeing loads of action going on the fretboard, but you think, hang on, I can't hear anything. And then when you add the bass into the mix as well, and you hear the bass kind of, that's high in the mix. This is why I always try to have the mix of live in my amp, at my feet. So I'm not relying on the sound guy to make me 40% louder. A sound guy would generally just make it 10% louder. Whereas I want my lead to be in front of everything. It's like even if the singer starts singing along, you can still hear my guitar at that level, if not a little bit louder. Of course, then you have your rhythm guitar that's in the mix. But if you're in the mix with your rhythm guitar, you know as soon as you go into your lead that it's going to be in exactly the right place for people to hear what you're playing. So yeah, that's another kind of top tip for playing live and making sure people can hear your lead guitar, because there are some great lead guitarists out there who you haven't quite set it up, and you think, oh god, I'd love to kind of pull them aside and say, it would be great if you can dial in your lead guitar tone, just make it like 40%. And this is another thing you can do in the rehearsal studio. You can switch between rhythm, lead, and judge with your ears how much louder your lead guitar is going to be. And 40%, you might think it's a lot, but when everything else is going along, and when you're playing with a band and it's very loud, that you need that extra. Man, it's not like 5 or 10% louder. You've got to push it about 40%. So anyway, we will move on. But thank you for that. I will. Oh, it's Nicole that's donated £12 in the PayPal window. So thank you for that, Nicole. And the message is, hi Phil. I read Noel Redding confessed that Hendrix's death is a murder. What do you think? Rock and kiss. So thank you for that. And I'm not really into conspiracy theories too much. It's not something that I've spent a long time thinking about in that particular case, and there are other people that are much more qualified to comment on it, and maybe people who were around at the time, and obviously I can't really add anything to it other than what I've seen and read, but it's not something that I know personally. So I haven't really thought about it at all, and haven't really looked at any conspiracy theories myself. So anyway, thank you for that, Nicole. Right, now let me just click on this. Right, we've had another few donations, and I'm gonna have to get rid of the likeometer. I'm just going to turn off this because it might be giving a bit of an echo in the background, so just in case it was. Let me just scroll up here because Karen donated $10, so thank you for that in the messages. Hi Phil, recently Gene Simmons testified in Congress about how artists whose music is played on AM, FM radio here aren't unfair. If their music's on radio in the UK, are they paid? Hang on, I need to scroll across because I didn't get the end of that sentence. AM, FM radio here aren't paid. Clearly unfair. If their music's on radio in the UK, are they paid? Yeah, absolutely. You're paid royalties if your music's played on the radio. So yeah, I'm surprised that that's not something that's done over in the USA. But that's absolutely basic, because the radios, I mean, what are they going to play if they're not playing somebody else's copyrighted material? Because radio doesn't work as radio if they say, okay, now let's listen to this next song, but we can't listen to a song because we don't have permission, because we can't play their music without their permission. And maybe they just do. They just play people's songs without... or maybe it's just... can it be agreed that the labels have said, oh yeah, play all of our music and we won't get any money for it? And maybe they're thinking it's a publicity type thing, but yeah, I think you get to a certain point where if you're in control of your music, then you can decide where it goes and who's allowed to play it. So if a radio station is playing your music and you haven't given them permission, then you can say, well, I didn't give you permission to play my copyrighted material for your benefit, because you're playing it to try and get people to listen to that radio station. They're not creating their own music and playing it, and that's why people are tuning into the radio station. They're tuning in to hear other people's copyrighted material. So just from a legal perspective, it's kind of common sense that, yeah, you get royalties because that's your intellectual property that they're playing without permission. So yeah, here we PRS will pay you, like Performing Rights Society will pay you for wherever your song is played, and the radio is included in that kind of all media, TV and film. So thank you for that. And Mia has donated 4,000 Argentinian pesos, I think. Let's scroll down here. Oh, Cindy says he said the songwriters get paid, not the artists. Yeah, so it's going to be the copyright owners who get paid. So it means that if you're performing somebody else's song, that's somebody else's song. So they own the copyright to that. So the person that has written the song gets paid. Not the people who have decided to play the other person's song. Because if this person who's playing the cover wants to get paid, they write their own song and perform that, and then they own the copyright copyrights to their song or their songs, whatever they've written themselves. So it's always the copyright owners that get paid. So and that's always how it has been, and probably I think forever will be, and that's why. Yeah, I mean, everybody, you'd say, well, why doesn't everybody just be a covers band then? Because it means that you'd get all the money for all of the shows that you do. And this is exactly the same, back to PRS, that if you play somebody else's song in a venue here in the UK, the copyright owner of that song gets their revenue, that they get their royalties for that cover band playing their song. So that's the way that it's mapped out. So like if I decide to do a cover of somebody else's song, I don't get paid for that. I think very much it's accepted that, like on YouTube, I get a copyright claim by the owners of the copyright or the owners of the song, and they take the ad revenue for the video where I'm performing their song. And that's the point. And the way that works is that I'm playing a song that people know, therefore more people might watch it. So they might check me out. So they might check out my music because I played the cover of another band. And this is how it's worked, since the beginning of time. Taking the Beatles, for example, who would play covers and then gradually bring in one of their own songs and bring in another song and another song and another song. So they all start out playing covers, like popular songs of other artists at the time. So that's pretty much how it works. And I know that now on YouTube people are now registering their cover songs as original works through third-party companies, and that's something that I've kind of handed off to lawyers that I know for them to look at and investigate, because it's too much for me to get into. But I think there are a lot of cases where it's suspicious, where somebody's taking the ad revenue for their cover of a song, and I don't think that they have an agreement with the copyright owner of that song, because especially when you then see who it's been registered by, it's like a third party company that do this. They start registering the content ID of all of these cover songs and say that it's like Bohemian Rhapsody by, and then not Queen, but this other person who's done a cover of it. So it's like saying that they own it. Whereas you think, well, no, you can't take the revenue, the royalties, away from the copyright owners of that particular song. Because again, that's the deal. You're using their song to get more publicity. Whereas by registering it yourself, you're using somebody else's song to get publicity and you're taking the money. It's like, well, that's never been part of the deal when you talk about bands and artists playing covers. So anyway, thank you for that, Karen. And also, I think it was Cindy who made that comment. And Mia donated 4,000 Argentinian pesos and says, "Hi Phil, thanks for the acoustic Paris Nord and for your work and for being the protagonist of my YouTube wrap-up." Oh, let me scroll across. "And also for making this 2025 hard for me much more bearable. By the way, this is approximately $3. Greetings from Argentina." So thank you for that. And Veronica's donated something that I haven't looked up yet, but 60 of them. So thank you for that. And it's just I just haven't had time to look up exactly what it is. But the message is, I have a question, honestly out of interest. Do you know and or disagree with a pretty accepted among the early 2000 critics and on opinion that Lane Staley was a great artist and an almost unnatural vocalist? So thank you for that. And well, yeah, something that I haven't looked into at all, and maybe something that I shall look into, but if it's made as an analysis video is requested, then yeah, I can look into it. Veronica donated again, saying, I have a question that I think is related to the earplugs, but about headphones. Is this a question for here or for a non-live question? So people ask all kinds of questions. So yeah, it can be something live. We are approaching midnight, so I've been chatting about different guitar-related things. Linda donated $2. Thank you for that. The message is, how do songs become public domain? So that's literally just been made this second, that donation. But it's literally when you've kind of got probably two main options here, where you've got songs that have been in the public domain for years, and it's just popular songs like folk songs, for example, that artists play, and there's no copyright on it because it's accepted that this is for artists. This is for all of us to be able to play and not have to worry about, you know, money and contracts and that business side of music. It's just that everybody can play this without having to worry about it. So the music's in the public domain. You've got the other situation where it might be owned by somebody, like a song will be copyrighted material and then the copyright runs out. And this is something that can happen dependent on how long it's going to last for. Say 40 years or 60 years, then the copyright is now effectively going to be, you know, up for auction. People are going to pay what they think it's worth so that they can own that copyright. So yeah, generally if it's a very well-known song, then the people that own that song will have earned quite a lot of money from it and have a lot of money to then just invest into, you know, putting it out for another, you know, 40 years or 60 years, however long they decide they want to do it. But yeah, with copyrights or copyrighted material, it's always maybe a little bit, I don't know, frowned upon when you take something that's in the public domain and you register that as your own work. And yeah, that's something that I have mentioned before about, you know, particular song, which I won't get into here, and I'm going to skip this advert before it comes in. But yeah, there's always the possibility that someone is going to potentially, I'm going to mention it anyway. So you've got Scarborough Fair, which was a song that was in the public domain and everyone was fine with it being in the public domain. And then Paul Simon took that and added a little bit on the end of it and put in a few extra words and then registered that whole song as his song. You know, Simon Garfunkel. Obviously people will know it, but as to where the copyright comes in, that now being a copyrighted material means that that song is something that, you know, Paul Simon is making money from, but it was previously in the public domain. And I think I said in my video that maybe among the folk, I don't know, community and players that were playing it and knew Scarborough Fair like as it was without this little bit added on the end, and they thought, well, no, you're still playing the whole of the original song, but you've now added a bit at the end. That doesn't make it a new work. That makes it a work that it was with a bit added on the end. And I said in my video that would be like me performing More Than a Feeling by Boston, playing the whole song and just adding another verse at the end. Because, you know, if I was playing through, and you won't be able to hear this, you might be able to hear, if I went, you probably won't be able to hear it. But if I started playing through the riff, people would say, oh, that's More Than a Feeling by Boston. I say, oh, well, no, it isn't. Wait till we get to the end, because I put another bit on the end. So now this whole thing is my original work. And the words would be the same. So it'd be like, woke up this morning and the summer's gone. And the thing, well, yeah, but you're using exactly the same words as More Than a Feeling by Boston. But yeah, I added a bit on the end. So this is now a whole new work. So this is why some people saw it as a, I don't know, questionable to apply copyright to that. So, yeah. Anyway, we won't kind of get too much into all of that, but it's just an interesting case that I've kind of seen in the past in an analysis video. Thank you for that, Linda. And Veronica's donated again 15 things. So thank you for that. And the message is, do you hear less lower channels on headphones with the outside sound? Hang on. This lycometer thing. Outside sound blocker thing. A musician friend told me that, but I trust you more ironically. Do you hear less lower channels on headphones with the outside sound blocker thing? Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what you're referring to as the outside sound blocker thing. Are you talking about in-ear headphones rather than over-ear headphones? So over-ears, obviously, well, might not be obvious. They sit over your ears. In-ears sit inside your ears. So generally with in-ear headphones, it's going to cut out more of the outside sound because they are like having earplugs. So yeah, if that's what you're talking about, the outside sound blocker thing. So anyway, yeah, thank you for that. Now we are going to be jumping into tonight's cover video because time is running away and I need to get back to the likes to see where we're at. We need 10. Are we at 340? Let me get this on screen to see what it appears as. Yes, 340. So we're needing 10 more people to hit the thumbs up so that we can, I was going to say bust out the guitar, but we've already got the guitar. So we can then have a jam at the end of the live stream. The track is, by the looks of it, 7 minutes and 36 seconds. So we're going to be jumping into it. This looks like Is This Love? The Whitesnake classic, which I think we had recently because of the whole David Coverdale retirement announcement. But yeah, it's been requested again. So we will be having a look at this, my version of the Whitesnake classic. Hope you guys enjoy it, and I'll see you after. Rock!
You go alone. It's times like these I can't make it on my own. Wasted days, me sleepless nights, and I can't wait to see you again. I found to spend my time waiting on your call. How can I tell you, babe, my back's against the wall. By my side just to tell me it's alright, 'cause I don't think I can take anymore. Is this love that I'm feeling? Is this a love that I've been searching for? Is this love, or am I dreaming? This must be love, 'cause
And there we have it. That was my version of Is This Love? I hope you guys enjoyed that. Right, now we are going to be having a fill jam, and we just happen to have the guitar out, which is very convenient indeed. Let me get rid of the lycometer because I need to just jump over here. I think, Veronica donated again. Thank you for that in the messages. Nope, never mind. Next time I'll look up the name. So, right, now jumping into this, we need to turn on that for the guitar. Turn on the laptop as well because this has fallen asleep. Right, now, as to whether this works or not, we will see. But this is hopefully going to be... Slow Whisper donated £1.99. Thank you for that. And the message is, what do you think about grassroots music scenes in UK? So thank you for that. And I think that the problem is that with, especially since COVID and so many venues closed down, before COVID, it was really tough anyway for grassroots music and independent artists to get out there and to gig and just to make money, because original gigs aren't paid in the UK. So it means that you'd go out and you'd basically be working to save up enough money to pay the petrol to go and do a gig, and you wouldn't make any money from that gig. So you're constantly spending money and never make any back. And if you're looking to do it full time, that's not a business plan that's ever going to work. So it's a case of, I think, for getting down to the grassroots music scene and getting young people into music, you've got to diversify and get online and try and just get as many avenues as you can and set up your website, have your music recorded, and have your merch, all of these different things, so that if you do start to get a little bit of momentum, then everything's set up. Say, for example, you never want to be in the situation where somebody says, "Oh, I love your album and I want to order 4 or 5 copies, and I've got a friend who wants to buy a few for his friends," and then you say, "Oh, okay, but we haven't quite got an album yet, and but we're going to work on it, and we've just done a few songs, and the songs that you've heard are just demos, and we're waiting to do this or waiting to do that." You just got to try and get to a point where everything's ready to go, and unfortunately that means that you might have to spend a bit of money to get to a point where everything's ready to go. But once everything's ready to go, then it's up to you as to how much you promote yourselves and what you're willing to do, really. I very much saw it as a challenge, and I've said many times that on Twitter, as it was back then, over the course of 2 or 3 years, I wrote over 100,000 personal messages to people asking them to check out my music, because I knew that they had checked out other hard rock bands, because you can see them following other hard rock bands on Twitter in the followers lists of the big bands. So once you do that amount of self-promotion and message that many people, there are some that are going to say, "Okay, I'll check it out," and then if they like it, they might buy an album. So if you own all of your material, your publishing rights, it means that even if you get a tiny percentage of those 100,000 people, every time somebody buys an album, you're making that money. So then you can start thinking about financing for the future what you do. But anyway, it's hard. Kind of getting out there and playing shows is even harder now. So it's got to be something that you do in conjunction with online as much as you can, or at least that's what I found in my experience. Some people just like to go out and gig as much as possible, but I did that, and I didn't see a lot of headway being made doing that, unfortunately. So, for original music I'm talking about, not doing covers. So anyway, let's get into this. This is Fill Jam number 290, and it's dreamy, gliding, melodic rock backing track in E minor. Right, click on that. That's on. Let me click on this. Now you'll have to let me know if you can hear this in the live chat room. like everything. And there we have it. That was Phil Jam number 290. I hope you guys enjoyed that one. And yeah, thank you, Joe, for sending me that. And I think with this particular setup, I can't really do too much about the sound. I've just got to kind of go with it because the headphones is going into this. I'm listening to the backing track through that, through the laptop, and the guitar is going into the computer. So I'm not really hearing the guitar apart from out of my amp. So yeah, I can't really kind of adjust too much, but hopefully you could hear it. I could see that the levels are kind of kicking off at about the same level, so I know that the guitar's coming through, or was coming through, and that the backing track's hitting the same kind of point, so it's all a bit of a guessing game. So anyway, thank you guys for tuning in tonight. As always, I'm going to be here with another video tomorrow night, so look out for that one. And I will, this is something that I haven't talked about tonight, but I will be aiming to release the video over on Authentic Vocal soon for the video that I'm making with actually 7 vocal coaches, prominent vocal coaches on YouTube, and they've all performed totally natural, unaided vocals on their choice of song, and I will be posting that on Authentic Vocal. So yeah, it's just an idea that I had a few months ago now, and contacted a few people that I have bumped into over the years on YouTube, and yes, I've got 7 very well known vocal coaches to just give a natural vocal, and they've agreed to send that to me and for me to put it on Authentic Vocal, and yeah, maybe in the future to have that on this channel as well. But make sure you are subscribed over there, because I will be releasing that soon, and maybe on Saturday I can talk about it more, about who's going to be doing the performances, and yeah, jump into a lot more of the details. But anyway, yeah, thank you guys. Veronica donated 6 things again, so thank you for that, and the message is so beautiful. Thank you, Phil. So we are going to be Ruth Ann says, did you miss a couple of donations? So let me scroll up. Not that I know of. I'm just scrolling up through the super chat window. I think I did. Yeah, I'm not sure what that refers to, unless it's something over on PayPal. Maybe the PayPal donation hasn't yet come through. That is something that sometimes can happen, where it gets a bit delayed. And Blackwood Ghost donated $1.99. Says it was well balanced, fed to my deaf ears. So thank you for that. Right, we are going to have to call things to a close, because it is now gone 20 past midnight here in the UK. So thank you guys for tuning in. Look out for the video tomorrow night, 8 PM Greenwich Mean Time. I'm going to be live streaming on Saturday, of course. Saturdays and Tuesdays are live stream nights, and that happens at 11 PM Greenwich Mean Time. So have a fantastic rest of your evening and your week. Try to stay as safe and as sane as possible in this crazy world in which we live. Have a fantastic rest of your week, and I'll catch you guys at the next one. Rock!